What up, y'all? Back again. This here is a little bit of England, where we have a cup of tea, some crumpets, and we worked our chisels very well, and our hammers, with our mule and our rickety wheels, wooden wheels, and our rickety wooden ladders. Yes, A-OK. Everything's sunk in the mud here. Because we had a worldwide catastrophe called the mud flood in 1812. And all of our structures, they all sunk in the mud. You see the windows going into the ground, and these little people, they built these big buildings. Somehow they put a rickety ladder up higher and higher, and they just would lift these big pieces of stone up here and just set them forth, cement them in. I used big pieces of granite we quarried from God knows which mountain, whichever one we decided, because we're strong people, and that's how we did things, you know. And Big Ben was nothing. We did that in just a few days. But this is the world's architecture, man. It's amazing. Look at that. Come on. We built that. Come on. You gotta be kidding me, man. Look at these structures, man. And these are all pre-1812, man. Pre-1812. They built all these structures, man, with just a chisel and a hammer, and they were trying to find a bathroom. They would, if we were lucky, they'd dig a hole and go in a hole, but chances are they just kind of, went wherever. Usually the creeks and the rivers were the best places because, it seemed like the best. But look at that. Come on, y'all. Come on. We could build anything. That's what you guys tell me online. We could build that back then. We just choose not to. Come on, man. Without a dump truck, without mechanical tool, we couldn't do it today, y'all. If we could do it today, we would have done it. We'd be doing it. We'd be putting them things up left and right because they'd be great replacements compared to the plastic siding and the crappy woodwork we do today. We can't do stonework like that. Where did these people go, and how the heck did they do it? And how'd they build structures to last so long? Look at that. They just loved what they did. Took them a couple thousand years. That's how. Whatever. Listen, man, we were supposed to be coming out of plagues for the last 2,000 years since Christ was crucified. That's the narrative they give us. But we built these amazing structures, but nobody was around, and everything was falling apart. I'm here to tell you, I'm here to set things straight on a historical level. We didn't build it. This is Millennial Kingdom leftover. And the reign of Christ, just like he said, it was imminent. It was imminent, y'all. He was coming back. And if he said he was coming back in that generation, don't tell me that a day is within 1,000 years as God. Yeah, he was talking to humanity, y'all. He came back in his glory and his kingdom. And just because, Kenneth Copeland, T.D. Fakes, they want to tell you that he's still coming, you're supposed to read your word. Reread Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But in Matthew, it's obvious he was coming back in the next 40 years as a generation. In the next 40 years, and that's exactly what he did. And he ruled and reigned. Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. I like to think the year our Lord took over, because that's what he did. And they hid this from you. They added 1,000 years to the calendar. There's no ice and snow on all the old maps. The North Pole is where all the 4 rivers from the Garden of Eden come out of. Until recently, California was an island all the way up until the 1800s. Why? because we had bad cartographers, map makers? No, that's what they'll tell you. But they had thousands of maps and hundreds of cartographers that put the same thing on the map. The mud flood connected California to the mainland. I did a video on that if you look further down. These star forts are amazing. There's thousands of them all over the earth. Nobody really knows what they are except for some sort of stronghold to use against enemy forces. But you can go right around them. So they weren't really used for too much of a stronghold in battle. The Great Wall of China is backwards. It was really to keep whoever was on that side out. You'll find if you look into it. These canals, the Panama Suez Canal, we just redug them out. They were there already. A lot of this stuff is we think that we're amazing and the most genetically savvy people, the smartest, ingenuitive people that ever walked the earth. This stuff, everything in our whole earth ramped up in the 1890s. Do you think we were dumber than a box of rocks until then? And not until then could we think to make conveyor belts and stuff? Come on, y'all. This stuff was here already. The technology was here already, but they started filtering it out to you in the 1890s again because they started gearing out. Look how tall these structures are built for more gigantic people because the saints and their glorified bodies that ruled and reigned with Christ, they were taller than us. They were bigger than us, and they didn't have to use the restroom. That's why you'll find that the Great Stink happened in the 1860s, because all at the same time in the whole earth. Because we went and repopulated these old kingdoms, regular people, after the Millennial Kingdom ended with a rapture, and then Satan was loose with the minions from the abyss, and the comet came up in the dome from the earth, not from outside the dome. People always say, "Oh, you believe in comets, but you believe in a flat earth?" Yeah. The comet came up through the ground. It was Satan coming up through the ground, y'all. That's how liquefaction occurred. And the controllers were probably the fallen ones, the adult people, and the children coming out of the cabbage patches that repopulated the earth were yours and I's great-grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents. They were called the lost generation. That was the first generation back. And then they started opening these places up in corridors and having world's fairs one right after another to teach us what to eat. And they taught us all culture because fallen angels can speak any language. And they were shipping children all over the earth to do adult jobs because they needed to ramp up this infrastructure and they didn't have any people. Thank you.